On May 13th, 2025, if you all would rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Lord, we come to you and we thank you. We thank you for the dedication of these council members. We thank you for their sacrifices, for their family, and for how hard that they've worked. Their countless hours of study and just giving it all to the city to do what they believe to be best for the city on behalf of everyone that's here. Lord, we ask that you honor them and you keep them safe and you take care of them as they go into these different chapters. It's not farewell. It's just an honor, Lord. And thank you for all your many blessings. Lord, we thank you for all that you've done for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Very good. Moving into agenda item number 2. This is our general election. So 2.8, discussion and action regarding a resolution canvassing the returns, including the returns of early voting ballots cast in connection therewith, and declaring the results of the general election held on May 3rd, 2025 for the purpose of electing 4 council members, 1 for place 1, 1 for place 2, 1 for place 4, and 1 for place 6, for 2-year terms each, authorizing issuance of a canvass of general municipal election. At this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the canvassing of the general municipal elections. Do we have a second?
I'd second it.
We have a second by Councilman Caldwell. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you, Council. At this time, we'll move into agenda item 2.b. This is the issuance of the oath of office. Council members, place 1. If you would please rise. Ms. Cindy Horn, you'd come take the middle. And you are honored today to have our own county commissioner, Lauren Lichty, past mayor, etc., etc., etc.
All right, if you would, Cindy, please repeat after me. I, Cynthia Horn, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of council member on the City Council of the City of Heath, Texas.
Of the office of council member on City Council of the City of Heath, Texas.
And will to the best of my ability. Preserve, protect, and defend. The Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
The constitutions and the laws of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
All right, the issuance of the oath of office. Council member, place 2, please rise. Mr. Johnny Myers. Yeah. And he is honored to have our very own county court judge too, at law, Ms. Stephanie Woodward.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Johnny Myers, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of council member on the City Council of the City of Heath, Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Congratulations.
All right, continuing with the issuance of the oath of office. Council member, place 4, Ms. Michelle Thurgood. And you are honored to have Mr. Tim Hartley, our very own municipal court judge.
Michelle, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michelle Thurgood,
I, Michelle Thurgood,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of council member on the City Council of the City of Heath,
of council member on the City Council of the City of Heath,
that's my fault, thank you, and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Very well. Continuing the issuance of oath of office, council member, place 6, Mr. Mitch Omby. And you're honored to have our very own, the one and only Rockwell County Judge, Frank New.
Mitch, raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I, Mitch Owenby, do solemnly swear
I, Mitch Owenby, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of council member on the City Council of the City of Heath, Texas,
as a council member on the City Council of the City of Heath, Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
the laws of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, at this time, as they're signing this oath of office, if we could have all of these new council members come to the front, and we will take some pictures. If we can get everybody up front, we'll take some quick pictures. You want to take it?
One, two, three, and again. One more. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, at this time, we will change seats. Council members newly elected, please come up. Please give a warm round of applause to council members vacating their seats. Well, if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what does. And you will see your nameplates. Very well. All right, what a wonderful day. Thank you for those that did the swearing in. We will now move into agenda item number 3. This is our public comment section. Ms. Adele?
Yes, we have one person signed up, Miss Virginia Hannon.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Virginia Hannon, and I serve as the District Director for Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman Fallon is in D.C. this evening, but he wishes to send his regards to each and every one of you. It's my honor to be here tonight on this special occasion as we officially welcome and celebrate our newly elected city officials. To our incoming leaders, congratulations on earning the trust of your community. Your election to the City Council is a testament to your dedication, vision, and willingness to serve. Today marks a new beginning for our beloved city. Our community looks to you with great hope and high expectations, and we are confident you will meet these expectations with wisdom, fairness, and determination. May your time in office be defined by progress, unity, and shared commitment to the residents of the city of Heath. Thank you once again. God bless you and your families, and God bless the city of Heath. I also have some certificates. These are from the
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Virginia. All right. Ms. Adele?
That is all.
That's all for public comment. Moving on into agenda item number 4. This is our council and city manager's comments. Ms. Adele?
Thank you. I do have a few announcements and some recognitions to share with the room tonight. This is National Police Week, running from May 11th to May 17th, and Peace Officers Memorial Day is also this week on May 15th. And we join with the nation in paying tribute to the local, state, and federal peace officers who have died or have been disabled in the line of duty. We also want to recognize our exceptional Heath DPS for all they do to protect and serve Heath. We truly are blessed with the very best here in Heath, and they keep us the 7th safest city in Texas, and it's improving all the time, so we're thankful for that. Speaking of improving, the Heath DPS is currently undergoing a promotional process to promote 4 lieutenants and 4 sergeants. This is a monumental change for our public safety department, and it was made possible by the fiscal year 24-25 budget that was approved by your city council. The promotions not only allow our staff the opportunity to grow in their careers, but it also allows for there to be a supervisor available for both police and fire operations at all times. So these are exciting times, and it's great progress for the Heath DPS. Next week is Public Works Week, and we are grateful beyond measure for our hardworking and dedicated Public Works staff. If you don't know what Public Works does, they manage our water and sanitary sewer systems, streets, drainage, city facilities, and parks. So, no big deal. They do it all without fanfare, and they really hate attention. They really did not even want us to make mention of next week being dedicated to their service, but we're doing it anyway. They show up 24/7, 365. They are literally always at work, working in the background to advance the quality of life here in Heath. They show up before dawn. They work after dark. They work when it's 100+ heat, when it's freezing rain, freezing cold, pouring rain, and snow. So Public Works is currently also blessed to have 6 certified water and wastewater operators and 2 certified park professionals. So they are loaded with professionals, and we're thankful for the service that they provide. The Public Works leadership team is made up of Director Brian Creed, Assistant Director Mike Shook, Randy Patton, who's our Division Manager for Streets, Parks, and Facilities, and Martin Chavez, who's Division Manager for Utilities. The team has 16 employees, and a couple of them have been with the City of Heath for 17 and 18 years. So it's commendable service. So if you could, please give a round of applause and appreciation to these fine folks. Lastly, I would like to make everybody aware of a recent letter of commendation that was presented by Chief Seary to our Sergeant Wiedemann and Detective Tungcab for their assistance in helping the Rowlett Police Department solve an aggravated robbery that was featured in the series Trackdown on Fox 4 News. Wiedemann and Tunkab's assistance played a crucial role in the successful resolution of that robbery case, and it highlights, obviously, the importance of law enforcement coordination and the exemplary work of our professional staff. So we're thankful that Rowlett can feel safer knowing that case is resolved, and we're glad that those two guys are ours. So that is it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, council, does anyone have any comments? None at this time. I would like to say a continuation of those that vacated their seat. The dedication that they poured into this city truly is a blessing. This is a very much a thankless job. The emails, the phone calls that these individuals have dealt with over many years. And so if you can, reach out to them and tell them thank you. And we're very honored to have had them with our city. We had a wonderful reception for them. I hope to see that for many years to come. I think that was very necessary and very warm. Thank you. I'd also like to say thank you to the new incoming council members. We're very proud to have you with us and working on behalf of the city and taking business of the city seriously and wanting to volunteer your time and buckle your seat because you just never know. All right, very good. Moving into our consent agenda, this is agenda item number 5. This is 5.A, discussion and action regarding the minutes of the April 22nd, 2025 regular meeting. 5.B, this is action regarding resolution number 250513A, the purchase of taser equipment and training services for the Department of Public Safety from Axon Enterprise, Inc. through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. I believe everyone's had time to review the consent agenda. At this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the purchase of the taser equipment and training services for the Department of Public Safety.
Okay, motion on the floor by Councilman Dodson as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Mormon. So the motion moves. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
Mayor, I just want to point out that the motion was only covering item 5B. It didn't cover 5A. So we do need a motion on that.
Very well. We will continue that motion to open the floor to entertain a motion to accept the minutes of April 22nd.
I'll make a motion to approve 5A, discussion and action regarding the minutes of April 22nd.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Dodson. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thanks, council. Moving into agenda item number 6. These are items for individual consideration. We will begin with discussion and action regarding the appointment of Mayor Pro Tem. Just for clarity, Mayor Pro Tem is for if the mayor is not able to attend a meeting, the Mayor Pro Tem then runs the meeting and serves as the mayor in my absence. At this time, I'd make a nomination for Councilman Dodson. Do we have any secondary nominations? At this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Mr. Dodson.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve Councilman Dodson to a term for Mayor Pro Tem. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second by Councilman Ownby. The motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. 6.B, discussion and action regarding a change order for $209,601.30 to the Hill and Wilkinson contract to require the installation of new water lines to support the City of Heath Well Number 1 project. Mr. Creed?
Good evening, Mayor and new council, and old council. Sorry, guys. This item is an original change order I had with Hill and Wilkinson that I'm requesting denial, and then we'll bring up the next item, which is the actual change order with the very same scope of work, couple of little changes, and a large monetary change. So if I could, I'm just going to ask for a denial on this.
Okay, very well.
It was tabled, so we have to.
And what this was we were, for the new council members, the Director of Public Works was working with Hill and Wilkinson to get our water lines in place before these drainage lines go in. So we're under some time constraints. However, after working and walking through the job, he realized, hey, there are some provisions and some changes that we could make. Obviously, those were sizable differences in the amount of money. So this was a tabled item, so therefore that's why he's asking for a denial. So then that way we can move into the next agenda item, 6.c. So I will make a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Councilman Omby. So the motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Moving into 6.c, discussion and action regarding a change order for $111,071.51 to the Hill and Wilkinson contract to require the installation of new water lines to support the City of Heath Well Number 1 project. Mr. Creed.
All right, Mayor and Council. So what we have here is part of our bridge plan was to install a well to irrigate our park. And when this was originally concepted, it was only for irrigation of the park. And we decided to upsize the well and make it potable as well, or potable, some people might say. And so it's kind of a bullhead water lines that come out of the well that's out here in the park. And there's a pond over here in the corner of the park that it will fill on this end that we irrigate out of. So we irrigate the park with the well water, and in the other direction the lines would run out and go over to where the water tower area is, where there'll be a small treatment facility before we pump it up into the tower. So we needed those lines put in both directions. This is only for those lines. The reason we broke this out is we have the park project ongoing, which I'm sure you'll hear more about as we move forward. And they need, I don't know if you've seen all the storm pipe we have out there, all the RCP, that concrete pipe we stacked up there. Well, some of this water line goes under that. So we have a contractor out here that's kind of waiting on us, and we're not quite ready to start drilling the well yet, but we need to get these water lines in the ground to move forward with the rest of the park and not have these guys sitting out here just charging us money to hang out. So what we did was we got with the engineers, we broke out the water lines, and we're going to make a change order to have essentially trophy, and I believe that's in your packet, the breakout that they have. Install the water lines in there. Actually, the same folks are going to install the storm lines as they go. So it was a good action for us monetarily, and we did find some areas where we could save some money. We had some station identification that had to be changed, and we reduced some haul off, and so that's why this change order occurred from the last one to this one, because of the way the agendas are set up. By the time I was able to review it to the point where I caught that, it was already in the packet. So you're already in, you already go. It's going to be on the agenda. And so we just requested a table and then brought the new amount forward. And I'll be happy to entertain any questions. I know it's like a crash course for you guys on what we're doing. You can kind of see it there on the plans, that bullhead I was talking about. You see it goes up in the corner up there to the tower, and it comes over to this bottom left-hand corner to feed the pond. And the well is all right, I can't remember how to use the pointer. So the well is right here. And you see this line goes here, goes down and feeds into the pond. It actually drops into a storm drain, and the storm drain carries it the rest of the way into the pond area. And then, I'm pointing towards the council when it's going up there. All right, and then this one carries all the way up to that direction, up to the tower.
All right, very good.
I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Creed. So yes, as a reminder, obviously, this is a key element for getting our first potable water well here in the city of Heath, gaining hopefully anywhere from 750,000 gallons a day to 1 million gallons a day that we'd be bringing online. And then also it will serve as pumping water to the pond, which will just be irrigation, but the rest will all be going to the tower. So are there any questions by council for staff? Councilman Dodson?
Brian, how many days lost has there been as we've been waiting for this vote to occur?
So the days that we've been able to move them around and do some other things, I am going to be able to have to come back for general conditions. We've probably lost about 20 days.
Okay. So first and foremost, congratulations on knocking this down from what it was to 111. That's a material reduction. That's That's more than just pencil sharpening. So
It is.
great job to
Thank you.
and Hill and Wilkinson. When you come back with the days lost, Article 4 in here talks about a park completion date, and I'd like to see that
Okay.
included here as well. No pun intended, but on the well, what is the activation date and the plan for the activation date for that?
So
well?
our request for that was to be having water coming out about September 1st. We're probably looking at September 15th or 20th now at this point, where we're still need to get some documents taken care of before we can put that out
So
to
that's
bid.
September this year, so then we'll be able to have the analysis done on the mineralic content and things like that at that point in time, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Got it. And we're still looking to have that up and going and producing accretive water at some point next year.
Yes, yeah. Theoretically, it would be online by early March,
Right.
where we could actually use it as potable. We can use it as irrigation immediately.
Right. So my last question is more of a comment. It would be helpful as we review this, just given the large nature and the overrides or the overruns that we've already seen in terms of change orders and things like that, to have a Gantt chart that we can follow and that the public can follow as well.
Okay.
With regards to where we're at, what the next critical milestones are.
Okay.
And kind of what, the next puts and takes are as well.
Okay. I'll be happy to provide that. I will say that right now we are within budget. We are working within contingency. We've had some ups in the contingency. We've had
Yeah.
some reductions in the contingency.
Right.
So we're playing within those margins and staying within the contract. This, however, was externally funded because it's a well project, so I had to adjust the contract for it.
Gotcha, yeah, I saw that was highlighted as that the well components were not a component of the
Correct.
original contract, but great job on the reduction. No
Thank you, sir.
further questions, Mayor.
Great questions. Councilman Dodson, any further questions for staff, council? Okay, at this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the change order for $111,071.51 to Hill and Wilkinson to support the installation of new water lines to support the City of Heath Well Number 1 project.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilman Myers. The motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
Thanks, Brian.
Moving into agenda item 6.d. This is a discussion regarding the 2025 comprehensive plan update. Ms. Adele?
Thank you. On the table in front of you tonight, you have a document that's titled City of Heath 2025 Comprehensive Plan Summary of Updates. I'm going to be talking from that. I also want to point your attention to, in your packet, you received a draft document of the 2025 Comprehensive Plan Update Working Draft. It looks like this. It's about 62 pages. And I also placed on the table in front of you a blown-up copy of the future land use map. Tonight's item is a discussion item only. I want to bring the new council members up to speed on where we are today in regard to this project, and then talk about next steps to get us toward adoption. So the comprehensive plan typically gets updated every 5 years. There was a major reworking of the plan that was approved in 2018. I believe all of you have a copy of that plan. 2023 marked the 5-year point, so the city began the process of updating the plan at that time, and the project has followed a colorful, non-traditional trajectory, if you will, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Beginning in January 2023, we prepared an RFQ to go out for a planning consultant, and at that time it was the City Council's direction and vision to maintain, for the most part, the vision in the 2018 plan, the content of the goals, objectives, strategies, and recommendations that were included in that 2018 plan, and focus just on updates that reflect new developments and completed implementation tasks that have happened between 2018 and 2023. So I spent about a decade as a planning consultant specializing in comp plans, and at the direction of the council, they changed the approach to the project. It changed from a consultant-led project to a staff-led scope. And the council appointed a comprehensive plan steering committee at that time to help direct the project. The consultant budget was redirected and work began in June of 2023 with the steering committee and staff. So the steering committee appointed to help direct this project included former council member Weaver, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Wayne Gordon and Thomas Bishop, Architecture Review Board members Jason Thompson and Richard Anderson, EDC members Mike Zelinskas and Scott Dodson prior to being appointed to being elected to council, and Katie Dyer, who's our park board chairman. And then we had several staff involved: Aretha Adams, then Kevin Lasher, now me. I've changed roles several times during the project. We've brought in David Gonzalez as our community development director. Richard Dormeyer, our city engineers, worked on this. Brian Creed, public works director. Jay Ayers, finance director, and Suzanne Brook as our communication and park board and EDC liaison. So the comprehensive plan steering committee met many times and edited every single word of the 2018 plan to make it into a current document that's representative of the continued vision of Heath. And the pace was slower at some times than it would have been with a consultant, because the work being staff-led effort had to be folded in with our other workload of our lean staff. So it was done in conjunction with a massive software integration and also standing up a third-party hosted GIS system. So we're incredibly grateful that we already had plans in the works to launch a GIS system, because it ended up being crucial to this effort. So as I said, we've gone through a non-traditional set of circumstances and process to get to where we are today. The steering committee completed their work in February, and the draft that they created was reviewed and edited by the P&Z in March at their regular meeting. With the draft mostly complete, the steering committee met again in April to finalize the future land use map. And then the P&Z held a special meeting on April 16th and gave their blessing to the future land use map with some comments that you'll see interspersed in the document. The draft in your packet, as is indicated in the staff report, is a working draft. The staff is actively editing the document to finalize some of the demographics, and will present the final document next Wednesday, May 21st, to the P&Z for their final consideration and recommendation. So we're coming to you tonight to put this working draft in your hands, because it's about 95% complete. And because I've been the project lead on this for the last couple of years, and my time in Heath is coming to an end next Thursday, and I wanted to do the heavy lifting to get this project to the finish line with the P&Z and with the council, and not leave that and adding that onto David's plate. He joined the staff very late in the process, but he's been a huge help in wrapping things up, especially in coordinating with the GIS consultants and pulling the demographics together. The final document will be on your agenda for the May 27th meeting. And as we pointed out in the staff report tonight, the staff is actively working on the document. We're editing and revising a few of the tables. I think the maps are all finished. Is that correct? Yeah. And we're doing a little bit of tweaking on some of the associated text that describes the tables and maps, just to make sure that we've got that all buttoned up. So we're incredibly grateful to the steering committee for these 2 years of their direction, especially those who are in the room tonight. And we're also grateful to Half and Associates for really churning out our mapping in a very timely manner. We wouldn't have been able to accomplish this without all those efforts coming together. In the summary of updates that you have in front of you, I want to point out a few of the key updates. And to reiterate, the original scope and focus of the project that began in 2023 was really to carry forward the ideals, the vision, the recommendations that were really clearly stated in the 2018 plan. Not to depart from that, if anything, to actually double down and to expand on some of those policies, recommendations, and objectives. So you're going to see that in the document when you look through it. As far as updates are concerned, we didn't modify anything with regard to the 1 dwelling unit per 1 acre of developable residential density. We added in a preference for use of the SFE 3.0, 3 acre and larger district in areas of Heath that are undeveloped and where it's situated around areas that are developing as large rural estate developments. So you're going to see that depicted on the future land use map. As we work our way down, I'm just going to start by reading out the vision, and then I'm going to highlight a few goals, objectives, and some of the strategy recommendations. So the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee slightly tweaked the vision statement from 2018 to read now, Heath is a premier outdoor lifestyle community of spacious, upscale neighborhoods, open spaces, parks and trails, cultural amenities, an exemplary educational system, and distinctive economic development to provide the highest level of public services, a place to call home for a lifetime. So to that end, the committee and the staff worked together and came up with a few modifications to the document. We wanted to make reference more often and with more clarity the need to require sidewalks and trail connectivity. We also wanted to make sure that applicants who are applying for development action in the city of Heath know that we take very seriously parkland dedication and open space, especially in our residential developments, and that there will be an expectation of their development to provide those things. We also you'll see references throughout the plan to a combination of high quality, low residential density, low commercial intensity, open atmosphere, and all of those things being done intentionally. Goal 6 of the plan creates a whole new section that focuses on rural by design. It defines what rural by design character means in Heath, which includes maintaining open space, low residential density, low commercial intensity, and a low impact on infrastructure. And you'll be seeing more of a mentioning of that terminology as development proposals are reviewed and compared against the ideals of the plan in the future. Heath, as far as land use mixes are concerned, we really see a mix of land use only within the town center overlay district, and it's a mixture of commercial uses within that district. That is a continued theme in the updated plan. With regard to resource protection, we added more language into this document to talk about the importance of year-round water conservation schedule, and also an emphasis on drought-tolerant landscape materials, and encouraging irrigation that does not utilize the city's irrigation system. So the use of wells, rain barrels, other types of technology, if you will, to provide for residential irrigation and commercial irrigation. Another important topic facing the city of Heath and every city in our area, especially right now as we're in a legislative session, is the need to collaborate well with our surrounding cities. And you'll see objectives in here that speak to that. For instance, Objective 12.4 and 12.5 both speak to that, and seeking alignment with our elected officials at the state level and higher regarding legislation that can have an impact on the city. And then with regard to the town center, around the time of the 2018 plan, an effort began to do a design manual to guide the design standards for our town center overlay district. That was completed following the adoption of the 2018 plan. So the 2018 version spoke to that as a future state, like we're going to create this, we're going to do this planning exercise, and then we need to do something with the results of that. Well, now we have those results, and we've done some things with that to codify it. But the 2025 comp plan, I mentioned doubling down. It kind of doubles down on that, and it says that not only do we want, like the Texas historic architectural style and the farmhouse chic style as appropriate for our town center, we would like to see those design standards implemented or complemented by all development in our local retail and other commercial areas that are outside of the town center overlay. That's not to say that those areas have to comply with the 20-plus pages of regulations that are specific to the town center, but we are saying the committee and the P&Z ratified the committee's stance that our commercial development, it's in the city of Heath's best interest for our commercial development to have a common high-quality aesthetic, and that the chosen aesthetic is depicted in that town center overlay design manual. Now, as far as land use strategies go, a theme that came out in the steering committee's work was a desire to not burden existing citizens to the degree possible with the impact of future growth. So that's an ideal that you'll see mentioned in the plan. They also suggested that the city should require all retail development when rezoning action is needed to be done in a planned development. And they specifically mentioned, and you'll see it listed in here, features that those planned developments should consider. A combination of a list of features should be present in planned developments when they're brought before the city, P&Z, and the council for your action. And in order for that to happen, it needs to be put into the code of ordinances. So the specific recommendation in here is to amend the ordinance to require these things to happen. And some of the features that are listed out in here, well, all of them have been desired features in the plan developments that have been presented to the city for the last few years. And to date, it's been a give and take negotiation between the city, staff, the developer, the council, the P&Z, to try to accomplish these features. And it's a very iterative process, and anytime you're negotiating for things, there's a risk of not getting everything that you want, right? So the plan is talking about making some adjustments to our ordinance to really have a fighting chance of getting all the things that the city wants with regard to these development features. So you're going to see a list in here that includes things like ample open space, modest signage, noise buffering, preservation zones to preserve tree stands and landscape areas around the exterior border of developments, amenitized common areas, trail connectivity throughout a development as well as connection to existing trail segments, the use of gray water irrigation wells, gray water / irrigation wells, drought-tolerant landscaping, uniform fencing, curvilinear streets, a variety of building designs to reduce monotony, and the use of the environmental features that are already there, ponds, water features, floodplains, etc. So those are mentioned as desirable features in a local retail plan development, which is our only commercial zoning district is local retail. That's why I keep saying that. And then also those are features that are also desirable in residential plan developments. So an implementation action that's suggested is to go forward and update our zoning ordinance and our subdivision regulations to make these things part of our vernacular. And then there's also some other recommendations that deal with, let me get to it, capital improvement programming and planning. and the prioritizing of maintenance and improvements to our existing infrastructure and facilities. There's some encouragement in here for HOAs, for the city staff and the council to be actively involved in encouraging our HOA leadership to adopt restrictions for the use or for the development of accessory dwelling units on properties within their association, and also to prohibit short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBOs, et cetera, within their associations. The reason we're calling that out specifically as an encouragement for HOAs is because that's been a move of the legislature in recent years to limit or remove 90% or more of the city's ability to regulate those uses. But they have seen fit to leave some authority with the HOAs. So instead of the city being able to regulate that, now it gets to become a civil matter between neighbors within a neighborhood. So we've had one open house with HOA leadership talking about this and giving some draft suggested language for your deed restrictions, and that would be a good measure to take again as the city moves forward with implementation. The last thing I'm going to mention is the future land use map. There are a number of other recommendations that were amended and updated, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to list them all for you tonight. You've got them in the document. They are all highlighted in yellow to make it easy for you to find them. But there was a change made to our approach to the future land use map. And of course, that's this big map that you have in front of you. You'll see at the bottom, there's a legend that identifies categories for future, the way that land in Heath should be used in the future. And I'm going to focus specifically on the residential uses that are on this map. They're called out as rural estates, medium density residential, and high density multifamily, and then residential townhouse. In 2018, a rural estate designation on the future land use map said that land should be developed at least 1 acre developable land per lot in a residential development, and could also be compatible with the 3-acre zoning district and the ag district, which allows for 10-acre minimum lot size with an accompanying ag use. So the committee, in its deliberation, determined that rural estates really should be 3-acre and larger properties. And so they took the 1-acre option out of rural estates and kind of moved it down into the medium density residential. Medium density residential previously had included a 1/2-acre lot zoning district, which is inactive now. It was made inactive after the comp plan was adopted in 2018. So the committee took that 1/2-acre and bumped it down and reclassified it into the high density residential. So what you'll see on the map and in the table, which is the second to last page in your little summary handout, is the revised future land use designations and the descriptions for those. So with the desire to see more 3-acre and larger residential uses in Heath, the committee sat and looked at the map and said, well, okay, it doesn't make sense for every undeveloped piece of property in Heath that could go to a residential use to be 3-acre and larger. There are some areas that we already have deliberated over with a 1-acre and larger proposal. So you'll see on the map that the focus is really on designating areas for rural estate, again, that's 3-acre and larger, in places where it's already surrounded by that kind of development. And then also, it's noted in a band that kind of lines the major thoroughfares that come into the city. The idea there of the committee was that as you're driving through North Ridge, 549 and McDonald, you're going to see, that's 550, anyway, you're going to see a strip of land that preserves that rural, residential, aesthetic that is really what has drawn a lot of people to Heath and is really implement what we identify ourselves as in a lot of ways. So you'll see that on the future land use map. That's why there are some pale yellow strips that line these major 549, 550, and Ridge, as well as Heathland Crossing. So that kind of captures the major emphasis of the update to date. This is a discussion item, so if you've reviewed the document or if you've heard me say anything that brought questions to mind, I'd be happy to answer those. The next step is next Wednesday, the finalized document and maps and the whole shebang will be on a special meeting agenda for the P&Z. They're going to deliberate that on the 21st, next Wednesday. It's the only item on the agenda. And then their recommendation will come to you the following week on May 27th for your final action. You'll be the adopting body. Dodson and McClure were on the committee, and if I left anything out or if I didn't focus on something that was crucial, please, fill in those gaps for me. Did I miss anything?
Nope. Very good. Thank you, Ms. Adele.
Yeah.
Great summary overview. Before we go into discussion and questions from council, part of the future land use and really redefining, if you go back to 2018 and the massive work that it took, and for some of us, we packed out the high school's auditorium, and the consultants took notes and feedback from everybody on what do you want to see, and so the 2018 really embodied that. And then obviously this is a tightening up, if you will, obviously looking for where are our vulnerabilities as a city. Some of you that have been coming to city council meetings know that some of our ordinances have been around since 2005. In many cases, we've actually missed those opportunities. When we implemented the comprehensive plan in 2018, well, we probably didn't codify some of that stuff that's still sitting from 2005. We saw that in our anti-monotony ordinance, where for every 400 foot, you could have a similar home, which therefore creates that tract builder concern, right? But also with density management, the concerns there. And then also getting into the open space ordinance. That's a new ordinance that we've never had before. But really, it really just embodied what was in the comprehensive plan, almost verbatim, and then we codified it into an ordinance. So these are some of the things that we're going through as we look at this comprehensive plan, and as we look for passing this new comprehensive plan. The next steps are let's codify it. Let's make sure that we have city ordinances that substantiate it and bring it into fruition, because ultimately, a comprehensive plan is a future state, and it's a guidebook, no different than the Town Center Overlay District. None of us were here when the Town Center Overlay District was created. That was a whole nother council, and they worked tirelessly with consultants and a lot of feedback and surveys from the community, and that's where that came from. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure that as we move forward that we're protecting our city through ordinances that are applicable to the comprehensive plan. And so some of the things that were made note is, some of these ordinances are no longer even in existence. Some of the past council, we've made some of them obsolete. You get into multifamily, obsolete. You get into, smaller lots than half an acre, obsolete. So these are all obsolete. So it's one home on one developable acre plus. And so that's the SFE 3.0. So as you do look at the map, we do need to make note, Ms. Adele, on page 12 of the summary and on page 13 of the comprehensive plan, it's actually 13, but it has a secondary page number of 232. The coloring for the rural estate needs to match the map. So that's just a easy clerical item to address. As you look at your future land use, when she's talking about major thoroughfares, and it's not just about continuity within the city, but it's also density management. You know, it's stressing our resources and making sure that we have some alignment with what our expectations are as we catch up our infrastructure. But as you'll see on the 550 and the 549, as well as you'll see some on Ridge and you'll see some on 740, that's what these areas are trying to showcase, is these more identified as rural estates as SFE 3.0. So you will also find it to be some interesting reading as you look at the comprehensive plan, and I'll also tell the audience, please, make sure that your voices are heard. When these meetings come speak. You know, if you're in favor or if you're not. We want the community to be behind this. Ultimately, this body worked for 2 years on trying to get this up to where it's at today, but we want to continue to create that engagement and feedback from the community, because we're here to represent everybody within the community. So please come to P&Z and please come to the council meetings. And those of you that are on as elected officials, let's continue to rally all of our constituents to make sure that they see it, understand it, and can comprehend it with any questions. That the more heads and the more eyes, it helps us be a great city in establishing this comprehensive plan. But the interesting reads that you'll see is that as you really have seen, and you see the quadrant identification markers, we didn't rebrand or relogo. We're very proud of really, being a sailing community. Rush Creek being it's a speedster sailing community. And so we want to be very proud of that. But we also want to talk about the other things that people identify with. And so you'll see horseback riding. That's something that's very unique. If you go into Dallas and you want to stable a horse, guess what? You may be driving 30 miles outside of town to go find a place to stable your horse, so that equestrian lifestyle is not maybe readily available. Well, we have that here, and we have it with our neighboring cities, but we have it within our community. We have fishing and boating, so you'll see that in the quadrants. You'll also see that we have 2 golf courses. So as a community, it's a mile by a mile to have 2 golf courses. And in fact, we have the U.S. Open qualifier this week. So again, great, beautiful community, but also the sailing. So we want to make sure that we're identifying that in our brand and who we are as a city. But as you go through and really understand, a premier outdoor lifestyle community is to make sure that whether it be people wanting to develop their property or it be ourselves as a city trying to strategically plan, we want to make sure that we encompass what that means. So I've heard many people say, well, what makes us premier outdoor lifestyle community? Well, it's coming. If you don't see it today, which I already see it, but it is coming. And working on trail systems. We had a number of people within this committee talk about equestrian lifestyle and equestrian trails. And so, whether it be walking, biking, hiking, or even with equestrians lifestyles. So those are the things that I think that you'll see within this comprehensive plan. So thank you for the summary. At this time, the chair will open the floor to allow discussion and questions with staff. Do we have any items of discussion or questions? Very well.
Mayor, could I mention a couple things I forgot?
Please.
Where can you find the draft? It was included in the packet for tonight's meeting, the draft that these guys have in front of them and that I was referring to. After the P&Z meets next Wednesday, we'll package that and it will be on the homepage. Suzanne will shimmy a little link in there above the fold and you can get to it easily that way. And then the document did result in a laundry list, if you will, of other ordinances that need to be revised to implement the plan, and those are listed in your summary document, and I'm just going to read them off real quickly because there aren't that many of them, but they're important. And
It's on page 11 and 12. They're not
Yeah.
numbered, but they're on the very back of the packet.
Yeah, so with regard to the zoning ordinance, reviewing retail design standards to align with the town center design manual, requiring amenities for residential lots, requiring water infrastructure, adequate water infrastructure for domestic and irrigation uses, requiring adequate sanitary sewer infrastructure, and requiring adequate transportation infrastructure. Other ordinances to either revise or create that came about through the planning process are parking lot design to include shade, space dimensions, cart corrals, curbside pickup, etc. Food trucks, ordinance to regulate car washes and other, either through a conditional use permit or deal with them in another way, or and other high water use land uses. Short-term rentals, we're tracking legislation all the time. Our city attorneys are very involved in paying attention to that. There have been some cities that have gotten themselves in a lot of hot water over that, so we're treading lightly and kind of leaning hard on our HOAs. But when we get the word from Marie and Andy that we can implement some regs, then those should come before you. Sign consistency within commercial developments, outdoor storage regulations, perhaps creating an overlay for the reserve, rural street standards, golf carts, collection.
Oh, that's pretty taboo.
Yeah. Yeah, I almost
split this city right down the middle.
I almost
some
skipped
like
right
golf
over
carts,
that
some
one.
don't.
Yeah. Collection and donation bins, trail connection requirements, sidewalk replacement program. 3 more. Water for new neighborhoods, codifying residential development amenities in planned developments and also in the straight zoning districts, and then codifying design standards for concrete and natural trails. So those
Very
are
good.
just some of the ones we came up with.
Thank you, Ms. Adele. At this time, Councilman Dodson, did you have a question for staff?
Yeah, I've got a couple. First of all, Aaron, you were really the driving factor of herding the cats in that meeting, and typically the objectives that you had laid out, there's no way that we could have accomplished them in any of the meetings that we were in, but yet you set those objectives and that bar really high for us. So thanks, or we would still be in that room back there, meeting on this thing. So thank you very much for doing that. Also, thank you very much for all of your efforts here in the city of Heath. You're going to be missed, not only as a leader in this area, but somebody with great subject matter and domain expertise with all of the things associated with the city and the care that you've taken with staff and the professionalism that you've exhibited to council is not unnoticed. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for that. With regards to this particular plan, you mentioned that this is coming back to us on May 27th, right? Is that to approve this plan?
Yes.
Okay. So the two things and you kind of hit on them, is citizen input, which I also think is really critical. I believe we talked about 2 readings of this with the citizenry of Heath. Is that correct?
That's very common. Yeah, we can certainly handle it that way.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that, because I think it's really important, as Mayor mentioned, that the citizens have a chance to see it, hear it, understand it, and provide input to it, so that we can codify this with everybody's input and not just the steering committee as we met on this, over the course of a couple of years.
So with that process in mind, the 27th would become the first reading.
Right.
And then it would come back to you again in June for a final.
Yeah, correct. We need 2 readings of it.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll add on to that, the local government code requires a public hearing for the
Yep.
adoption of the comprehensive plan, so there'll be one for that. So either on the first or second reading, we can discuss that offline
Very good.
now.
Right. So the timing of the updates that staff is working on, there's some critical numbers in there, particularly as it calls out, what is our plan for build out, right? The build out piece drives a lot of what we're looking for in terms of water in terms of roads and infrastructure and, what have you. And with us really moving towards beyond SF3 or SF43 to SFE 3.0, that's going to hopefully dampen the overall numeric requirements from a population standpoint here in Heath. So I just didn't know where you all were with bringing those numbers together so that we could populate that.
Yes, they are included in the working draft.
Yeah.
And we'll be fine tuning it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just looking for those updates on page 272 and 273.
What's the other page number on that? I don't have my full packet.
It's 272 to 273.
Is there a little
That would
page?
show the next ones.
Is there a little page number on there too?
The lower,
Smaller?
yes, 53,
There you go, okay. Yes,
and appendix 7, or 54.
Also, a few meetings ago, we had talked about P&Z taking a look at strengthening the ordinances throughout. And that's like a Herculean effort, kind of in and of itself. We got a quick glance at it, but the subterranean dive y'all are gonna have to put in on this is gonna be pretty substantial. Aaron, is the plan to still have P&Z look at that from their perspective on the ordinance piece, or are you and staff gonna take a swing at that before you kick it over to P&Z?
that would be an implementation step that would come afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, if we can make it happen, that should be a consultant-led project.
Yeah.
It's just to try to, you saw how long it took to do an update for this document,
Right.
to go into best practices and state statute and all of the things, all the considerations into an ordinance, pretty much a full-scale ordinance revision.
Right.
That's too heavy of a lift to be an in-house project.
Sure. There's about 15 ordinances that are
Yeah.
referenced,
No,
plus some
no doubt on that.
sub-ordinances.
It just pulls everybody off their game. On objective 8.5, we use the word encourage as opposed to require for irrigation. Did you do that from a legal perspective? And can we strengthen that in our ordinances to require neighborhoods of a certain size to have irrigation, purple pipe type planning in their development?
That'd be in your PD.
Okay.
Well, let me talk about that for a second. So what's important,
This is a critical document for the city. It's going to be binding by law upon the city and development that comes in. Every developer is going to have to comply with this. Your zoning ordinance has to comply with this. Any application has to comply with this in subdivisions and PDs. So my point is, this is binding, and it's going to be law, and it will apply for many, many years. So I know y'all are just starting out, but this is a really important document to start out with. I just want you to understand the importance of it.
So if we can strengthen language in that, and words matter with regards to legal requirements, that would be helpful. The only other comment I have, Mr. Mayor, is that this ADU thing that you mentioned is happening. And I see the Londons in the audience. They're kind of our resident Austin aficionados with regards to all things legislative agenda and community impact standpoint. But if this bill comes out and is not bracketed, which currently, from what I understand, it's not slated to be bracketed like the zoning was, meaning basically that for towns our size and in a county of our size, ADUs would still be, or accessory dwelling units would still be possible from anyone and everywhere. So anyone could ostensibly put a rental property in their yard, which is very counter to what we're trying to preserve here in Heath. So working at the HOA level, and I saw Harriet left earlier, is critical for what we do. Any clawback that we could have in there to stem the tide of the ADU piece impacting Heath would be very beneficial, I think. So thank you for that.
Very well.
That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other questions for staff, council? Okay, there is no action to be taken on this item. If there are no further questions, we will move into agenda item number 7. This is our executive session. In accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, the City Council will recess into executive session. This is a closed meeting to discuss the following. 7.A, Section 551.071, consultation with the attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter regarding wholesale water purchase contract between the City of Rockwall and the City of Heath, city manager position, and drainage concerns raised by the property owners of 5 Key Drive, Heath, Texas. 7.B, Section 551.074, deliberation regarding the appointment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee regarding city manager position. And then 7.C, Section 551.072, deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, the real estate sales, contract by and between the Heath Economic Development Corporation, the Heath Municipal Benefits Corporation, and John Olin Buchanan and Sue Ellen Compton for the acquisition of an approximately 2.8575 acres of land situated in the East Teal Survey, abstract number 207, tract 22, City of Heath, Rockwall County, Texas. And at this time, we are now in executive session at 7:41. Okay. All right. Agenda item number 8, we will now reconvene into open session at 9:28 p.m. I will open the floor to talk about, well, let's go back in here. In accordance with Texas Government Code Chapter 551, the City Council will reconvene into regular session to consider action, if any, on matters discussed in executive session. Our first line item would be 8.A, and that is going to be to consider an act on the resolution approving the real estate sale contract between EDC and NBC with Buchanan, Compton, and authorizing EDC and NBC president to execute any and all closing documents necessary for the acquisition. So the chair is open to the floor to entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing and approving a real estate sales contract by and between the Heath Economic Development Corporation and John Olin Buchanan and Sue Ellen Compton, and authorize the execution of any and all documents necessary for the acquisition of the property consistent with the terms as discussed in the executive session.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor as stated. Do we have a second?
I will second it.
Okay, Councilman Thorogood seconds. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Going into our deliberation regarding the appointment, evaluation, reassignment duties, and discipline of the dismissal of a public officer or employee regarding city manager position, the chair will now open the floor to entertain a motion.
I have 2 motions to make, Mr. Mayor. The first motion is to authorize the mayor to negotiate and execute an employment agreement with the city manager candidate.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Dodson to allow the mayor to negotiate and execute city manager employment agreement. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Okay, we have a second by Councilman Horn. Motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
Mr. Mayor, I have a second motion, sir.
You are recognized.
Thank you. My second motion is to appoint Chief Brandon Siri as the interim city manager effective May 23rd, 2025.
Very well. We have a motion on the floor to, as we have some change in our leadership, and we have a small area of time for this new city manager to take office. And so the motion is as stated to allow Chief Siri on the 23rd to be the interim city manager during that time of transition. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second by Councilman Omby. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council.
Good job, Chief.
All right. Hey, at this time,
And may God have mercy on
there
our
are
soul.
no further items. This meeting is adjourned at 9:31.
Or shake hands.
Now,
I didn't know you had one.